Yes, guys, how you doing? Welcome back to Spurs Talk Show. It's your Sunday afternoon segment. I hope you're all happy and healthy, doing the things you love, with those you love to do them with. We've got Pete and we've got Soren with us. We might have some more joining at some point throughout the hour or two. We are back to talk about all things that are going on in the world of Tottenham Hotspur. We've got financial fair play. We have transfer news, views and clues. We've got cock blocks. We've got opportunities. We've got all sorts to talk about. And we've got the two biggest bozos that I could find this afternoon. Pete, Grumpy Pete, and Red-Faced Soren. You're never gonna see these two quite as, well, in one case grumpy and grumpy and one case red-faced. I mean, the man needs to put on some lotion before he ends up looking like, I don't know, mate. You might look like Hellface or whatever his name is, Hellfire. It's good to see you guys. How are you, Pete? How are you, mate? Good to see you, buddy. You okay?
Yeah, Soren, should we just go now or what? I don't know how I feel that. Cheeky bastard.
Yeah, it's a nasty
I won't show the message you sent me begging me to come on. Well, there you go. Yeah, I'm
got one of those as well, did you? Nobody else will come on. Yeah.
He's even sending me pictures.
Great to see you guys.
Everybody else is doing proper streams, so we get on here.
Yeah, everyone else doing the big streams.
Yeah.
That is my two favourite people. How are you, Grumpy Pete? You okay, mate?
I'm good, mate. I'm sweating like a proverbial in a proverbial, Pete. Insert whatever you like there.
Love it, mate. Love it. It's hot. It's not as hot as it has been the last couple of days, but yeah, it still takes its toll, doesn't it, Soren?
It does.
How?
Hey. I need money into getting up the ass from you two. I'll tell you now. My time's valuable.
You're buying them sunbeds off Del Boy.
Hey, this is natural. And as for the lotion, mate, I'm sorry, but I used it all earlier, so.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. How are you, sorry, mate? It's been a while, bro. It's been a while since I've seen you on here, mate. How you doing? You okay?
Yeah, I've been busy on proper streams, and then obviously I got you begging, so I thought I had no better to do other than wax my legs and shave my crack. But might as well come on and talk Tottenham.
That's what we're going on
with them, is there? So.
No, that's what we're going to do. Listen, I've had a little, but you know what we do here? We like a little rat-a-tat, tap of the jabs. You guys are both fantastic. Love to have you all. Guys, in the comment section, please do me a favor, smash the like button if, like, your life depends on it. Hit the subscribe if you haven't already. Hit the notification bell. Drop the comments thick and fast. We've got a lot to talk about. In order to start, let's start where the start needs to start, shall we? First thing, of course, is Morgan Gibbs-White. Today, it all turns out, according to The Athletic, that it's just some sort of song and dance, a Souvlaki song and dance from Mr. What was it you called him, Pete? In the two tweets that I saw your WhatsApp, you called him giant haystacks on one. What was it you?
Pavarotti.
Pavarotti. I mean, listen, Pavarotti certainly, has he sung his last dance this one?
Well, he looks like, you know what else he looks like? Do you know the Borat film? The fellow who walked out, who was always with him, the little fat man in a suit.
Sensational stuff. Look, Marinakis has gone from a really impressive multi-club owner that, as far as I understood, had very little people that disliked him for the last 2 or 3 years. Wherever he's gone, wherever his kind of his footprint has landed, he hasn't really put a foot wrong. But in the last couple of months, he's really shown his colours. But forget about what he did to Nuno. Forget about the fact that he sent Crystal Palace to UEFA, trying to get them sort of disbanded for the same reasons of what he would have been guilty of had Forest qualified for the Champions League. He's a bit of a donut. Is he embarrassing himself, Pete? I'll start with you, mate. Is he embarrassing himself with this claim that we've tapped people up, or do you think that there's some sort of substance to it?
Listen, tapping up always goes on. Anyone who does not, it's how transfers are done. Do you know what I mean? I just think he's got the arse because imagine someone's dropped it in last minute. Oh yeah, they've gave him his briefing update for the day, and oh yeah, by the way, more than Gibbs-White songs about Spurs. What? What do you mean? Yeah, they met the buyout clause. What buyout clause? The one in his contract. I don't know nothing about that. Well, you signed it. Yeah, but I don't know nothing about that. So the fact that he's going, he's got no say over it. He can't negotiate for it, and they're his best player. I just think he's got the arse because someone's done him like a kipper. He's sort of like, that, remember that meme used to go around, a little video a few years ago with falling down with Hitler in the bunker, and they're going to that, and all of a sudden they tell him, and then he goes into one. You know what I mean? Everyone gets, it's sort of like that situation, isn't it?
Yeah. 100%.
Where did all this come from? So yeah, I just think he just caught them out of the blue, like caught everyone else out of the blue, and he's like, well, hang on a minute, I need to be able to negotiate here. I want more money. I know you can't because there's a clause for a reason. I don't get the whole thing about it was a secret
NDA.
clause, and
Yeah.
all that. What's the point of having a secret clause if no one can know about it?
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense to me.
No, and obviously agents have spoke, people know it, and that's what happens, isn't it? Life in the Premier League.
So are we saying, boy? I'm going to reshow. Yeah, sorry. So I can't stand the layout, the previous layouts. This one's going to have to be re-altered as well. Are we saying that? Soren, are we saying that this is all a fait accompli? Are we saying it's done and that we're just waiting for it to be like? Is this just theatre? Because apparently, according to the Athletic, it's all just theatre for Marinakis to not look like he's let himself down, let the club down. The club, the fans are going mental. Is it all just basically one big song and dance, or do you think that there is, like, listen, none of us know the ramifications of this, but at the end of the day, I agree with Pete, right? Like, what's the point of having a clause if no one's supposed to know about it? What's the point of having an agent unless you're doing the best interests of your player or of your client? And at the same time, they inserted that clause into the contract saying that they would be happy to sell him for £60 million. So therefore, they've got their money that they said that they, at some point in the past, they said they were happy to get. What are we dealing with here? What are we doing? Why are we waiting for this? And is this cock block, like, also, is it like, I don't know, is it stumbling Tottenham's ability to do other things that we might be willing, like, you know, we do nothing, do 2 in 2 days. We might have had 3 in 3 days. We might have had a little triple threat, a hat trick, had it not been for old Marinakis and his tantrum.
You might blame the Spurs fans. We've all sat there saying, just pay the bloody money, just meet the release cost. And we finally do it. And look what the shit it causes. We should have just Levy should have just low blocked him and come in at 50 million, shouldn't he, or 45 million, and we won't be having this shit. Look, the guy's a plonker. The guy's an absolute moron. We meet the release clause. There's an absolute meltdown from Forest fans. It takes him virtually 24 hours, and all of a sudden he's realised what shit's happening, and he looks all right, plonker, because you've literally got a damn good player that's worth a lot more than 60 million walking out your club. Basically, the best player probably they've got going to Tottenham, and he's probably sat there thinking, "Fucking hell, Daniel Levy never does this. Why the hell's he done it now?" And yeah, he's trying to save face. If I was Tottenham, if I'd have been Daniel, I would have just gone ahead with the medical, got him to sign, and then waited to see what the courts say, because there's no way that it's going to be upheld. He's a Tottenham player. But my worry is that is he stalling for some other club? Is something else happening, and suddenly somebody else is going to come in, put the same bid in, and Morgan Gibbs-White goes there, is City going to come back or something stupid like that?
That's interesting. That's a really good point. Yeah.
I mean, that would be my worry, that, the rumours were City had offered 90 million. I mean, they must be sat there thinking, well, what a twat, because if there's a 60 million release cost and we've gone in and offered 90 million, I mean, that's if they did offer 90 million. But I just think it's the biggest mess. I mean, everybody deals in release clauses, and you never hear this, you've met the release clause, we're going to take you to court. We're not happy that you've met the release clause. It's just, I don't know. I've never known anything like it. We go from European champions, we sack our manager, to then all of a sudden we have a week where two big names coming in. There was a third about to be signed, and all of a sudden we end up with one and possibly losing the other, and the other one not happening now.
It's going to happen. It's definitely. Listen, apart you do raise a good point, Soren, that there is the chance that and again, I'm not an agent. I'm not an IT, I don't understand. Nor am I a lawyer, so I don't understand the ramifications. I don't think anyone does. But what happens if we trigger a release clause, but at the same time Manchester City pay a fee that is, whether it's the same, whether it's more, or whatever else? What happens if essentially two people get accepted offers at the same time? I.e., we've triggered it, so yeah, yes, City can't do anything about that. But at the same time, that Man City say to Forest, "Well, we'll pay you 65, accept that, and then allow Morgan Gibbs-White and his agent to have the choice." That might be a scenario that plays out, which I think is a little bit. I hadn't thought of that, to be honest. So it's a really good point. Like, what happens in that scenario? But the fact is that Gibbs-White flew down to London, right? So, and he, I don't know whether he's been hiding out in Dominic Solanke's doppelganger closet or what, but like at the end of the day, apparently he's back in Forest now. Nothing's happened, so everyone's saying it's a fait accompli. But there is that option where someone else that's more attractive than Tottenham comes in just to try to scupper the deal. Would Man City be a team that would like do that, knowing that they're paying 5 million more than they have to, or does the fact that Tottenham have triggered a clause mean that other teams are now aware of it, and all they have to do is trigger the same clause, and then Gibbs-White has suddenly got a plethora of options available?
Well, exactly. I mean, look, City could come. I mean, if it happens, City could come in, offer the exact same money, and say, they're going to offer more money to Gibbs-White as a contract. It just stinks to me. It really does. It's to me, we should have, like I say, just got the deal done and waited for the ramifications after that. But it's not just affecting that deal; it's affecting everything else. Tottenham will have all of a sudden stopped and thought, we need to slow. We need to have a look, because I was under the understanding that we would have. There were going to be 3 names coming in, and he was the second, and the third was imminent. But that's even stopped now. So
who was the third?
I don't know. But I was told
you were
that
reading the same stuff. We had a third
no.
name.
I was told last Monday that Wednesday would be the day that we signed our first signing, big name. And I put a tweet out or a message out in, I think, your group Wednesday morning and said, "Today's the day, lads." And that's when we got kudos. Was told there would be 2, definitely 2 from England and possibly 1 from Italy coming in this week. Obviously, that seems to have stopped now.
Soren TK, hey, we're not far from it though. You got 1, you got 2, almost 2, right? I didn't see that tweet. I would have seen that message. I would have celebrated you, Son. I would have celebrated you, mate. Like the sun has celebrated your face recently.
We've done 5 videos on the back of that.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey! What are we doing here? What are we doing here?
I mean,
don't hate the game, mate. Don't hate the game, or don't hate the player. At least you can hate the game as much as you want, but we got to do what we got to do. Got to do what we got to do.
This is it. But I mean, you just think, all of a sudden it's starting to look rosy for Tottenham, and there has to be some spanner chucked in it again, don't there? Why can't we just have nice things for once?
Well, why would one affect the other?
Oh, sorry, go on, Pete.
If we was going to do the other one anyway, why would it?
I don't know. I mean, I'm just going from what I was told, that it would go in an order. We would go Wednesday, basically Thursday, and then Friday, Saturday. And whether it's just slow things down.
Who's you talking to? Craig David.
Pardon?
Who was you talking to? Craig David.
No. It was
trigger a clause on Thursday and on Friday and on Saturday and Sunday.
Got sued on a Sunday, yeah.
Yeah. I get what you mean now. Sorry. Yeah, a bit slow on that one. Yeah, it's just, I don't know. I was just baffled. I mean, we're all on such a high. Morgan Gibbs-White coming in, kudos sign. You just think finally, we're not just going for kids. We're actually getting these big names in, and then bang, it just brings you back down to earth, and you just think, do you know what the interesting thing would be? That if something did go wrong with the Morgan Gibbs-White, could we go back and sue them? And you look at it another way. What player is going to want to go to Forest and sign a contract with, say, release clause or whatever after this?
Yeah, I mean, look, I definitely think that Marinakis has made a bit of an arse of himself. I think that a lot of even Nottingham Forest fans have turned around and said, "What's going on here? The geezer's done 3 or 4 things now in the last couple of months that make him look like a prize bozo." You know.
Well, he fucked them up before, didn't he? When he held out for another 20 million for Brennan Johnson, and they violated FFP on the back of that.
Yeah,
Brett had offered 30. He wanted to chase more money, and then they got done for that.
Yeah.
I think when they signed that clause, he probably wasn't the player he is now. So 60 million, yeah, that's all right. Yeah, he's not going to be worth that. And then now, obviously, he's worth more than that. Oh, fuck, what are we going to do now? Salah, see you later, mate. What was signed 4 years ago is still valid now.
Why not give him a new contract?
Because he's not silly enough to sign it. He's thinking, no, I ain't getting.
Yeah, but he might. I mean, you never know. He might have been. He might. You give him a new contract. You just say, look, we're going to take the release clause out, but we'll give you another blah blah blah, same length or an extra year, whatever. But if a big, you do the word of mouth. If a big team comes in, if they offer the right money, we'll sell you.
That's why I think he must have forgot about it or something. He got stung out of the blue, because you think they would have took their measures to protect the club, the value of the player, going, right, we need to do that. Or even if they upped it to 80 million, so we'll give you a pay rise, blah blah, but the release clause has got up to 80 million now, and then obviously he signs or he doesn't. So I think that this has come out of the blue. I think because they signed like 400 players in the last couple of years, didn't they? Let's be honest, man. Release clauses must be buzzing around his desk. Is unreal.
Do you think apparently the contract that was signed with Gibbs-White was before he took over?
Well, there you go. So yeah,
he was not aware of it. So is he really angry with Tottenham? Is he really angry with the agent, or is he really angry with someone that was a previous employee, a previous lawyer who put in a bozo clause that he wasn't aware of? And he's just like, he's obviously just a very angry man. Like, he's a big fella. He's done very well for himself. No disrespect to the Greeks that are watching, but like I've said 1,000 times, right? When I lived in America, the best birds that I ever met in my entire life were Latinos, but they were the sort of girls that would have a bad dream that you cheated on them, and you would wake up in the middle of the night with your fucking cock wrapped around a pair of scissors because she's furious that she dreamt that you cheated on her. She would like be an amazing person, but still have that crazy, that kind of that Richter scale of like, hot crazy. And I think that Greek people or Cypriot people, I think that they're the European equivalents. No disrespect. I'm not trying to say anything awkward here, but I think that guy is just an angry fellow who's got a lunatic bozo gene in him. And I think he's done very well for himself. So he doesn't like losing. And on this one, he feels like he's lost. And
he didn't look at all the contracts when he first got in. He was probably too busy looking at the menu in the cafe, and didn't look at all the contract for all the players, and then missed that one. Signs 300 players, and it's just sitting there waiting to be triggered. And here we are.
Here we are indeed. Quickly, guys, I want to, before we move on to like Daniel, because I want to speak a little bit to you guys. I think you're both very balanced on Daniel Levy. I'm not even sure about how you feel about him as of late, but before we get onto that, I just want to sort of ask you about put the Morgan Gibbs-White story to the side here. Good player. I think you probably all agree. We probably all think he's a great player, right? But is he a player that we need? Is he the right guy for us? Is it a horses for courses conversation? Does he solve a problem that we ultimately have? And if so, what problem does he solve? Where do you see him fitting into this squad? Anyone wants to go first?
I think he's a good. I think he's a damn good player. He's homegrown as well, isn't he?
This is the funniest comment of the day, Sammy. Well done, mate. Well done.
I think he's a damn good player, and I think it's a player that we should be signing. I think that also spells the end of probably Bissouma, and what's to say Benton Care isn't going out as well. I think it's a no-brainer personally. I just think you get.
Where do you see him fitting into the squad? Do you see him starting?
kind of,
Do you see him starting in the 10, on the right, or in the 8?
I think more of an 8 maybe. But look, I mean, we was talking about this on, I think it was Dave's channel the other day. I think it depends on the system Frank plays. If he plays 3 at the back, I could see, say, him and Maddison starting together in that central midfield. And you know, sort of maybe getting a number 6 behind it or something like that. But I think he starts. I don't think we're paying 60 million for Gibbs-White and him sitting on a bench. Definitely not. But I think he'll start a lot of games. And let's not pretend that, you know, Maddison might be out. Sorry, dogs are going wild. Maddison might be out for half the season again as usual. So he'll probably be first choice, and he could play that 10. Kulu's not going to be playing for a long time, so again, you know, he's certainly going to start, and I think he suits Frank's system. I really do.
Yeah, look, I love him. I think he's an incredible talent. I think he's a workhorse. I think Pete, I'll come to you now. I know what you said to me. Don't say the same words you said, but I think we agree in principle. Bulldog, right? I think he has that sort of spite, that nastiness. I'll let you give the analogy of the guy in the pub. But I think he's someone that works for us. But if you're going to put him in the 8 and you're going to have like Kudus fighting out for a 10 spot with Madders or Decky, and then Johnson, I mean, we've got so many options. It's a wonderful, like a veritable smorgasbord of options in the variety that we can put together. But I still think that I don't know if he was the midfielder that we needed. I think that, to be honest, like if we bring him into playing in the 8, then that has to be curtains for at least one of Bissouma, Bentancur, or Sarr. Right, it has to be, Pete. But let me know your thoughts on Morgan Gibbs-White, because it made me laugh when you told me before.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Listen, I think he's probably going to be playing more of an 8. Because he's not. I wouldn't say he's the most gifted player in the league by any stretch of imagination, or technically good, but he is honourable, isn't he? He's that gnarly sort, and we need a bit of that because we ain't got any of that at all. As soon as that team, the squad we have, as soon as something goes against them, they fold like deck chairs. A lot of them. It's like slap, they're all folded. And it's happened to us many times when we've been on top, team scores a goal, and then we fall to pieces. I think having someone like that who's got that bit of gnarly about them, as I said to you, Sean, he's sort of like the geezer in the local pub where has a fight on every Friday, smashes ashtrays in people's faces and all the rest of it, as I'm outside in the back alley kicking the shit out of them. Yeah, one that no one wants to have a row with. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, he wouldn't have a fight with him. He's the sort of bloke. He's the sort of guy. Yeah. He'd really hurt you in a fight, wouldn't
he? Who's playing pool and you go and have a piss and you just knock his cue. Next thing is getting wrapped around your head. He strikes you that sort of bloke. And, but that's what we need, because we ain't got any of that. And if he takes the place of any of the ones you mentioned, yeah, and they can all go anywhere. I'm not bothered about losing any of them. So,
do you think Bentancur's at the moment? He's apparently been offered a new contract, but he's not signing it.
Sell him. Yeah, sell him then. Learn from the mistake. Sell him. He's not. He's not a player that you go, well, if he leaves, the whole team falls apart. Nowhere near it. He's had quite some big injuries. He's not a big game player. He goes missing a lot of big games, certainly in the league. So, can you get better than him? Yes. Is the team going to fall apart without him? No. So just keep. The only thing I hate is we run it down and then he goes for peanuts in the end, or we give him another contract to protect his value, but we still have no intention of actually playing him, and he don't want to stay either. He's just taking a bigger bunts. So if you don't want to sign, just go think, okay, well, you'll have to leave in this window. So find yourself another club, and then we'd do the deal. Because we didn't pay a great deal for him. Like I said, with two or three big injuries he's had. Even if you get your money back, happy days. Do you know what I mean? You probably get more than that anyway, but move on. See you later.
It's proving to be difficult to move any of these people on. We're going to talk about Bissouma in a minute. We'll talk about Sonny. We'll talk about Richie. Listen, I used this the other day or this morning actually on Football Inc. But it's the same principle here.
Just when you thought your squad was getting proper, That player won't leave. They call that cock blocker.
There's a lot of cop blocking going on. A hell of a lot of cop blocking. Welsh accent, Welsh Rams for the accent connoisseurs amongst you. You might have seen it. Let me just quickly get the super chats done. I'm going to move on to a bit of Daniel Levy to get everyone interested. Spurs GCTV, big up to you, mate. Member for 21 months. Really appreciate you. Afternoon, you fine gentlemen. Afternoon to you, Graham. Hope you're okay. Roy Viking from right up north. This man was like 300 miles. He's up in the Arctic Circle, this guy, with the best internet in the game. Since we triggered the clause first, I believe it's already done. Others can't outbid us now. I don't know if that's true. If that is true, I've seen a few people say that in the chat there, Roy. I don't know if that's I'm not a lawyer. I've got no idea about how it works, to be honest. But be nice to think then that we just basically cop-blocked everybody else by triggering it first. Be nice to be first for once as a Tottenham fan. But thank you very much for the super chat, mate, and thank you very much for your loyalty, buddy. I love you. We got new members from Harris with love. Love to meet you, mate. Appreciate you. Looking forward to getting to know you. And the same goes for General Tracks, Craig Scott. I think you became a member of Football Inc. a couple of days ago, mate. I appreciate you joining us over here on the Spurs Talk Show as well, mate. I think I saw you on Savage Show, so I guess you're a Tottenham fan. Thank you very much, my man. Appreciate you. Future's bright, future's lily white. Good to see you, mate. He says, do we want Wharton? Let's see how much. Hit the like button. Smash the thumb out of that like button's drum. And we appreciate you. Thank you very much. Future's bright. Love you, buddy. And then Daniel Field, the man who starts every super train. The super chat train is going. You can hear it right there. Guys, if you want to jump on board the super sticker train, you know Daniel Field is Clapham Junction in the super sticker train of content creators. Mate, I appreciate you very much, Daniel. Thank you very much. Everybody else, jump on board. Choo, choo, choo. Let's talk about before we come into Adam Wharton. He's the next topic. There's 1,000 people here, by the way, guys. Please smash the like button, smash the subscribe, do all the duties. If you are interested in the audio version of this stuff, then you can find the links in the description. But also, if you just frequent Spotify and Apple Pods and that, then all of these shows are live on those, uploaded there straight after this show. Let me ask you this, Soren, mate. Is there any chance that you, who has been a very reasonable person in the time I've known you about Daniel Levy, that is going to move anything outside of the realms of reason here? It looks like Daniel Levy has been shooed to one side. It looks like, according to reports, I'm not sure we'll ever get the clear detail on this, but it looks like he's been told, off you go and focus on the commercial stuff. A lot of Levy outers are shamelessly saying that they've done their job. A lot of the change for Tottenhams of this world are sitting there saying, yeah, we've done our job. Pats on the back all round for the change for Tottenham. It's quite embarrassing. But in any event, what's your take on Daniel Levy, mate? Is he moving aside? Is this new transition because of his exit? Is it something else, or is it all just a bit of a coincidental timing? What's going on, mate? Let me know your thoughts.
Well, let's get one thing straight. Some of the Levy outers couldn't organise a piss up in a brewery if they tried, could they? They couldn't find the condom on the end of the cock, so let's not go there. Look, I think there's so many different rumours going around. One of the rumours is that Daniel Levy's wife has been asking him for years to step down for a bit, whether that's true. The other rumours, that the ENIC have got fed up with the way he's been doing it, so they've pushed him aside. We're never going to really know, but I think Daniel Levy has done an absolute fantastic job on the business side of Tottenham Hotspur. He's made us into a business that's sustainable. The problem is he's been an absolute plonker on the pitch. You have a football team, you're supposed to put the football team first in a sense. So he's absolutely failed rotten on that. But look, it doesn't matter what you think of him. He is the CEO of our club. He's part owner of our club. He can do what he wants. He puts money there, whether we argue that he hasn't put his own money there or they have or whatever, the money taking money out. There is a lot of things that he's done good, and there is a lot of things he's done really, really bad. But as a Tottenham fan, I would rather see my club sustainable and not worry about going out of business or being relegated. And yeah, it's nice to win cups and win them, go out and buy them like Chelsea have or City have basically. And, other teams have done recently, but look, it wouldn't be Tottenham without Daniel Levy. We could be supporting a team that's totally different. We could be supporting a team that's in the first or second division. There might not be a Tottenham without Daniel Levy. We just don't know. But change for Tottenham, have they made a difference? I don't know. I think they've done a lot of good. I think they've certainly made the movement a lot more sustainable and a lot more what's the word? You could get on board with it a lot more than what it was last year before. And look, as much as I don't like the way people were protesting because of the way they then attacked all the other fans that wouldn't join them, I do give them credit for the fact that they stood on that picket line, whatever you want to call it, and did what they, what they shouted about. So,
yep,
up to them for that. But the toxicity that came from some of them, obviously not all of them, it was ridiculous. Luckily, Change for Tottenham came on board. They changed it totally. They made it more approachable, and they got people on board with it. Did that make a difference? I don't know. I don't think we'll ever know. That's the problem. It certainly didn't do any harm in the end, did it? I think the fact of how many people turned up to the sort of last one and the one before probably made them think, sit up and actually have a look at things. Because the problem is with Tottenham under Levy, we were not run as a big top 6 or top 4 football club. We was run as a very successful business. But the problem is, does business and football mix? Probably not.
I think the two are entirely overlapped, mate. I think one doesn't happen without the other.
No, but I mean, yeah, when I say it doesn't mix, what I mean is, though, that you've got to be successful in a sense with both rather than just concentrate on one and hope the other keeps up. Now, what he's done is obviously made us into a club that is very sustainable and can probably go forward without too much investment as a steady football club. But we are never going to win major honours without investment or a big
sugar daddy stuff.
Yeah.
This guy's got to that point, hasn't it? It's just, unfortunately, as much as it kills me to say it, Daniel Levy, I think, has taken us to the right spot. But if we actually want to go on, given the fact that the rules don't seem to matter in the Premier League, at least UEFA at least have got some grip on a decent level of rules, but their fines for me and just don't touch the sides. But there's at least some movement in UEFA, but for the Premier League, it's largely irrelevant.
I mean, what's the point in having the Premier League? Because again, they're about as useful as a condom with an hole in the end. You put rules in place and then you can't even enforce them. Everybody's laughing at you. So look, it doesn't matter really what we all think of Daniel Levy. The fact is, he's probably moving aside now. Let's look forward and let's hope the club goes on to bigger and better things. I just think this is now a time where, if as a Tottenham fan you're not getting excited, then you've either got something damn good in your life or you're not a fan. Because going forward, I think we're on the cusp of something big, hopefully.
Hey, yeah, I don't disagree. Listen, I've never been as excited as I am right now. I've got to be entirely honest, and it kills me to say this because it's taking place. My levels of excitement are growing at the same time as Daniel Levy's tenure seems to be eroding, and his power seems to be eroding. Pete, is that a sign that maybe the people that wanted him gone the whole time were right? Or does Daniel Levy need a lot of credit for getting us to the position where relatively small investments and a change of ambition, a change of someone who's pulling the pulling the strings, given the kind of the launch pad of what we've had, and the fact that Daniel Levy, look, he did it organically amongst a cartel, amongst, like nation states that were his peer group, and he still managed to get himself a European trophy without having to break the rules, without having to, to like loan your left arm to your right arm, all that stuff. Was it just a perfect time for him to step to one side, given the fact that his tenure started with a team that was in disarray, a company, a club that was on its knees after Alan Sugar, and in 25 years we got so close, we didn't quite make it, but then he got his European trophy, and now it's time to hand over to the big boys, the smartest minds in the room, the people with real ambition and who are not scared by seeing a couple of extra zeros on the end of certain price tags.
Yeah. Look,
Is that an ice cream van?
Yeah, ice cream van. Yeah, I was waiting for him to go past. I've already asked my mum. She said there's choc ice in the freezer. Fuck off. Yeah.
So is that what you said to your kid? This is Daniel Levy in Tottenham content.
Yeah. Look, I'm not going to lie. I used to be fully Levy out and all the rest of it a few years ago, and then I started looking into sort of the financial side of it a bit more, and I hold him sort of less to account more than the actual owners who don't put the money in. Yeah, he's part of that, but he is not the owners. He works with the owners. He's not the owners. And I'll encourage anyone to do the same, because then you sort of shake hands and make peace with certain things when you hear about we've only got £100 million to spend and this, that, and the other, because then you can read it, see it for yourself, and go, okay, they're not putting in, so he can only spend what we spend, what we make, and you get on with life. The only thing I've always questioned him for was his decision making at key times, and some things with recruitment. In terms of not what we spent, it's how we spent it. And like I said, big decisions. And he's not always entirely honest with the fans. Like when he says every penny goes into the first team, well, it don't, because we already know 90 million's managed to drip this way into property and all the rest of it. So there is a slight duplicitous about him. But on the whole, you could say he's the reason we are where we are, but he's also the reason, a big part of the reason we haven't gone where we've any further, because of not entirely, but because of some of his decision making. At the end of the day, the majority of it comes down to money, and hopefully now that money's coming in, it's the best time for him to step aside.
Has anybody done as well as he has done who doesn't have sugar daddy ownership?
No, and I think the time has come now for, when you're looking at Daniel Levy, obviously likes to play squeaky clean. You need someone now who's a bit more, well, we've got to do a bit of a backhander here and a roll your sleeves up and a little bit of skullduggery here or there. That's the way the world works now. Yeah, you got to. It is what it is. But just pivoting to quickly the Levy out and the change for Tottenham movement and all that. Sean, if you remember a few years ago, I said that Levy out needs to change to a change movement, not because it's too toxic. No, it don't appeal to the broader fan base. Nothing like that. It has rise of itself.
It isn't change for Tottenham the exact same thing. It's the emperor wears new clothes.
Not really. I don't think so. I think there's more unity in that with that movement, as I said, it would be, because it appeals to a broader spectrum. I think they've sort of let themselves go in certain things. I think they should have always stayed about change how the club is run, not necessarily who delivers that change.
Mate, I've been to all of the protests, mate. The people that are the
same Levy out would go.
The vocal faces of that movement. As soon as they went on channels that were the audience of which was entirely Levy out, they went on Tottenham away, for example. I remember them going on last one on Spurs saying, "Look, we're not Levy out. We want very, very articulate people." And by the way, like I say, I've got no. I'm not in any way. I'm not calling them out because I actually respect what their effort and they've done. I've been to every protest, right? So, like, I'm part of the desire for better, but when they go on certain channels, the people that are the vocal faces of it, when they go on certain channels that are neutral or that appeal to a broader fan base, they put on a sort of on a facade that they're very much, just change, right? Change can mean anything, all that stuff. And then they go on Tottenham away, which was incredibly Levy out, And they're like, no, let's just to be entirely clear, we're all very much Levy out. And at that point, I'm like, well, what are you? Like, are you? Is it just the emperor wears new clothes? And look, it doesn't matter, right? Because at the end of the day, like, I don't believe that any of these things ever materialize. Nothing ever shakes the cradle, unless there's other things happening that inculcate that narrative. And when they had their 6,000, 5,000, whatever it was, 1,000 people that turned up, that was when everyone was really frustrated with Tottenham. If they were to do a change for Tottenham protest tomorrow, there would be nobody there.
Oh, the fans are fickle. We know that. Yeah, I mean, but what I will say is there's been other. You look at them. Look at the sort of Levy out was trying to drum up protest, sort of like in the end of Conte Stellini days, and they still only got a couple of hundred. So what I will say, they did get a slight more unity amongst the fan base, but I don't contribute anything what's happening in terms of changing the club to anything they've done. Unfortunately, it's just, I think this is always about money. Someone's is either not made money, i.e. Luiz, because the club can't get sold, and this man's charity has been put into start getting some money in so we can get some money, or his daughter, or whatever, or they decide we need to up the club a bit more, invest something, and then we'll get that money back plus more when it gets sold. Because unless it's competitive and competing on the big competitions in the big tournaments, it's harder to sell, because the main people who you want to sell it to, your sports washing outfits and all that, well, they're not, let's be honest, they're not going to want to be, they're not interested if you're in the Europa League, because they can't really they don't really generate much interest being in lower competitions. They want to be at the top in everything, so they can get their name out there. Do you know what I mean? That's why they buy Man Cities and all the rest of it. So now that's slightly going to happen, and we need more money to stay there. Then I think that will start happening.
Biggest problem that I think Tottenham have had, it's not necessarily Daniel Levy in the sense of it. It's the fact he just hasn't employed the right people. I mean, he's been open about the fact of he's not the football person, and he's tried to hire people to do that job. I mean, yeah, he still gets involved, and I appreciate all that. But you know, the people he's hired have then, like the players, oh, this is who you should sign. This is who you should sign. He's gone out and signed them, and they've been a crock of shit. It's the people that are identifying and things like that. And I think what's happened now is, I don't think there's a better person to be in charge of Tottenham on the business side than Daniel Levy. But he's now probably got the right person in to actually run the football side to make a success of that. And it's like you say, without the success on the pitch, we're a nothing club. And all of a sudden, we've gone out and we've won that European Cup, and they're probably all sat there and think this is what we should be doing. You know, we've all been ridiculed about not winning a cup in how many years, and Tottenham can't win a cup and blah blah blah. We've finally got over the line, and the club needs more of it. And like you say, a little bit more.
Do you think we're getting it now? Like, do you think that what's happened in the last when you put together, Soren, the sort of, like, as I say, I always find it hilarious, right? Just give me a second here to rant for a second before I ask the question. I always find it hilarious, the timeline of events, and that everybody on Twitter thinks they're an ITK. I've been on spaces with people, and I see the amount of people that are like, that representing themselves as ITKs, that are just taking any level of gossip that's out there, banging them all out one by one, a bit like what I do. Right, with in terms of transfer news views.
I'm glad you got that in there.
Yeah, of course. I'm like, listen, but I am very I don't know anything. I don't know fucking anything. So I'm never going to sit there and say, oh, by the way, I put out a transfer link about Morgan Gibbs-White 7 years ago. Guess what? Told you so. Like, I'm very open about it. But other people put these things out there alongside 100 others, and then one of them pops up 2 weeks later as being the sort of legit story. They then retweet that one and say, as mentioned here, right? There's like a guy called Chris that does it. There's a guy called Timothy that does it. There's all sorts of people that do it. And there's people in the, like, everybody wants to be an ITK, but in reality, nobody's an ITK, especially when it comes to ownership stuff, because that stuff is hidden behind like NDAs, there is absolutely no benefit and all risk associated to anybody that would know anything about what's going on at the football club in terms of the boardroom stuff, leaking it out to some guy with 5,000
information.
like,
that's top secret. That's
top secret, and the consequences of getting found out as the leak equal like fines or prison time, right? And so, like,
and Levy will come for you if you
with
do.
3,000 followers or 5,000 followers or 50,000 followers. If you're pretending like you know something, you don't know shit. Like, you don't know anything. Nobody knows anything when it comes to that stuff. So anybody that's claiming that they do is just either like just repeating other crap and then hoping that they're right, or you know, even the journalists don't know shit. And when it came to Morgan Gibbs-White and that story came out, like, you don't have to be an ITK to do some intelligent, joined up thinking and think, wait a minute, let's go back to the start. December last year, there was shares that were issued. January, there were NDAs that were signed. Matt Law came out and said that there was no money, right? That fucking idiot came out and said there was no money. It's a sell to buy thing, all that bollocks. So I spent 6 months saying it doesn't make any sense. You don't have to be an ITK to be able to just look at a set of accounts, look at what's going on in the world of football, look at what's going on within the club that you're aware of, and blah, blah, blah. Ipso facto, vis-a-vis, here's the following. And then Daniel Levy and Vinay Venkatesham saying on Vinay's first visual sort of disclosure or demonstration of his prowess, co-signing a video that said, this is our ambition at the start of a window. Like, you don't have to be a donut. If you might be a donut if you're trying to pretend like that's inside it. It's not. You just have to be a little bit like, be able to go, oh, I remember what happened here, here, and here. And then Tottenham then go and sign Kudus, and then two days later, or a day later, nobody. It's interesting. All the ITKs, nobody saw that story happening. And then as soon as that story happens, all the ITKs come out, all of them, all of the journalists, they all come out and go, oh, yeah, guaranteed. No, I knew this last week. I just didn't tell anybody. Right? Yeah, but we got a monster sponsorship deal coming. Come on now. It does, like, all you've got to be is a little bit clever to sit there and figure out what's going on. You don't need to know people, and even if you do know people, nobody who knows anyone is going to be told anything about that, because it's behind the biggest Chinese walls that exist. Because the threat of getting that shit being caught out for leaking that information versus the benefit of doing someone a favor makes no sense.
And you know, Levy will come for you. Use every legal
it's madness.
Tool in the box to come for you if you leak that information. That man will come for you. He will take your house, car, fucking dog, the lot, mate. He will leave you homeless.
Comes for you like Marinakis comes for a Big Mac on a Friday night.
Yeah, like Pac-Man, that's gone.
You've only got to look over the last 2 or 3, 4 or 5 transfer windows, and the in the knows, as they call themselves, haven't really got anything right. You know,
I don't believe there's any such thing. It's just a load of spotty virgins who are off school in the summer.
If you're one of these in the knows and you chuck enough rubbish out there, one of them's going to come right, and then all of a sudden 100%. It's like, I told you so. But you don't concentrate on all the ones you've got wrong. I mean, we go back to last year, we were after Eze. Half of them told us we'd agreed terms, we'd done this, we'd done that. We obviously don't sign him. And then halfway through the year, it's, oh yeah, there's a rumour going around that we wouldn't pay his wages. Well, hang on, you're all telling us we'd agreed personal terms with him. So how is it now you're telling us we didn't agree personal terms, but back then you didn't? And it's like this year, well, we're back to Eze. Well, it doesn't look like there's any intention of signing Eze. Everybody that we've signed so far has basically come out of the blue. Which is
like, this is my challenge, right? Because on one hand, I appreciate people like Graham Bailey and Jamie Brown from TBR that stick out an update on Tottenham every couple of hours, so it gives me something to talk about. But at the same time, they were the same people that said 2 days ago that the owners of Fenerbahce were flying over in a private jet to convince Tottenham to sell them Bissouma. At the same time as their private jet was currently being sent to Brussels to try to get hold of the Archie Brown player, the left back, who left from Ghent. And then today they come out and saying there's like, Fenerbahce have got no interest in Tottenham right now. But yesterday, bro, you guys were saying that there's private jets coming to London to talk about. And it's only when you start paying attention to the updates, you start to go, hang about. This is a new break exclusive that the Bissouma's not going to Fenerbahce, but yesterday your exclusive was that
they all do it. They all do it. Alistair Gold's another one, and it'll be whenever, from my understanding, things changed overnight and all this sort of crap. They know fuck all, but unfortunately, it's an economy that they got
100%. An economy that I'm very grateful exists.
Exactly, yeah, and you're part of. So there you go. So it's a false economy.
The thing is, if you're one of these in the knows and you don't keep spouting on, nobody's going to follow you or listen to you anyway. So you've got to keep putting these names out. And look, it's fantastic. Oh, we're linked with Eze, we're linked with him, we're linked with Vlahovic, we're linked with blah 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 blah. The problem is, half the fan base actually believe these
the shit, and they get the arsehole when it don't happen. You're like,
exactly,
and then it was never going to happen in the first place.
Yeah, and all of a sudden it's Levy's fault again, and he, spend the money. Well, this is the problem, that most of the rumours are not true. So we were never going for these players, and the way I look at it is, I love reading them. I love listening to Sean, and I love listening to others people telling us all the ones that we might be going to sign, or we could sign, or we're interested in, or we've thought about having a meeting to see if we're interested in, and whatever it is. But until they actually sign and we get the here we go or whatever, it's just another story that's there as clickbait to keep us going. And
it does, and it keeps me going, mate. It keeps me going. Every day I wake up and go, please, someone with some substance come out with something that I can chew into. I want to just quickly chew into some of these super stickers, because the super sticker train is still going, boys. Give me 2 seconds before we get to it. We got to El Dante. He was the last member. It was the last stop at the super sticker train junction. Appreciate you, El Dante. We got G Giant 68. A new member of the show. Appreciate you, G Giant, mate. I hope you're okay. Thank you very much. Looking forward to getting to know you. Mr. Pox Office. How you doing, buddy? Those pox have been on your fucking face for a while, bro. Granny smashed. Here we go soon for the like button. Here we go on the like button. We appreciate that. Please do smash the likes, guys. I don't know whatever the likes are right now, but they could be a lot better. So please do get it up to 500 if we're not there yet. Do me a favor. I really appreciate that. And then we're back on the super sticker train. Daniel Field, Clapham Junction. We're back there for picking up more people. Choo-choo. Hotspur State of Mind has also stepped in. He wants to be picked up wherever you're from. Hotspur State of Mind. I appreciate you, mate. He's over in America somewhere, I think, with that $sign. Appreciate you, buddy. PG has popped in with another one. We're picking you up as well, bro. We're on the way to the top 4. We're on the way to the Champions League. We're picking you up on the way. Thank you very much indeed. Bobby Spurs with a £2 sticker as well. Thank you, guys. Appreciate you, Bobby. Wherever you're from, mate, let us know. We're picking you up on the way. Tony Rodriguez, member for 14 months. Question: we need a proper striker. We're going to come to that in just the next segment right now, because we have to always go on to where are we going? What do we really need? Where are the links versus where is the truth and where is the need? Appreciate you, Tony, though. Thank you for the loyalty. And Daniel Fields picking up more people at Clapham Junction. We appreciate you, Daniel. Thank you so much, mate. Very, very generous of you. Love you, buddy. You're a massive part of the community, and we very much appreciate you. Let me ask you this one, Pete. The story out today is all about Adam Wharton. Is Adam Wharton the right way to spend the next 80 million that we have? I don't know how much money we have. I got no idea. I don't know whether this story is 300 million quid is like the big deal, right? But it doesn't sound quite as good if it's 30 million over 10 years in a stadium naming rights deal, especially if it's the Aramco Arena or whatever else, right? It sounds cool in a punchline, but when you get into the
devil's in
juicy
the detail, that's it.
Right? So I don't know. I've got no idea. We'll wait and see, right? But if we've got money, if we have money, and it looks like we do, we're not going to have an endless supply of money.
No.
And as for my calculations, that for what it's worth, I'm usually bang on the money when it comes to transfer budgets and FFP and PSR calculations and that stuff. I believe that Tottenham can spend about £280 million net without breaching without breaching FFP or PSR problems for UEFA or for the Premier League. UEFA is more of obviously an imminent threat. But
That's
I think we've got a lot of wiggle room.
That's a net spend, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we're
There will be some
already
people going out the door.
150, right? Stefan Borson came out and said we're going to spend more than 200. I think that what we will spend and what we can spend are two different things.
Yes.
And my calculation suggests that we've got like 280 net spend before we start to get into the realms of problems with regards UEFA, especially if you're just using usual calculations for how much the contract is worth versus how much the transfer goes for. But if you're going, let's imagine, for example, that we do have another 100 million quid that we could spend out after Morgan Gibbs-White. Just thought experiment here. Is 80 million quid on Adam Wharton the way you'd spend it?
No, not for me. No, it's not discounting any ability of the player whatsoever. I think he's a very, very good player. But I think when you can get a Douglas Luiz, who's an experienced Premier League pro and a very good player as well, for a lot less, because we still got other areas to repair in the squad. As that Tony Rodriguez said, we do need another front man, most definitely. We probably need a left back, and we still ain't done this Kyle Walker-Peters thing. If we're ever going to do that, we could pull the hand on that whenever we like, but it don't seem to be happening.
He might be going out to. In fact, I don't want to bring it in, but I'm going to bring it in anyway. But he might be going to.
This is the turkey segment. The turkey segment of the show.
He might be going over
these
there.
videos.
You're
going to see a load of players now, isn't it? It's going to be hilarious where people are going to Turkey for a couple of years. They'll be coming back, fresh set of railings, you know what I mean, and all that.
Set of railings.
All gleaming white, yeah. It'll be all over the place. Turkey teeth in the Premier League all over gap. Yeah, it goes. I'm not bothered about him, but obviously it was to fix a certain problem. That's probably not as bad as people think anyway. But yeah, no, I think we need another striker definitely. With Richalison going the other way somewhere, he can go there, get his new teeth, crack on, and probably a new leg, new back, and everything else he can get while he's out there. Bless him. We need another front man. I don't subscribe to. We need one who can play back up to Solanke. I think we need one who's going to challenge Solanke. I mean, there's no saying you have to pay. There's out there. They don't cost 80, 100 mils. There's a few out there because Solanke's not exactly been prolific for us. So we definitely need that because we need. If he gets injured, we get in problems. You need.
But you're not spending 80 million quid on Adam Wharton, are you? No. At what point does Adam Wharton become value? At what price does Adam Wharton become a cost?
And Steve Parish is as big as a tosser on his negotiations as Levy, so he's not going to play easy ball either. You know what I mean, he's not an idiot. So I think you look. I just think we've got two biggies in. I think you need to get there because there's some real bargains out there to be had because of clubs' financial situations and all that. I think you'll be a fool not to take advantage of that. Even if we did get 300 million as a one-off investment, we don't have to blow it now. Do you know what I mean? Because you're going to have to then. We need to get back to the top 4 or top 5, and then there's another level we then have to start going again.
Correct.
You know what I mean? So
yeah, 100%.
We need to keep going.
I think that would be the worst thing in the world, wouldn't it? Is that if you go and drop 300 million or 250 million this summer,
and you got dead.
And then next summer, nothing in January because we blew out.
Another 518 days.
You can imagine the meltdown that would be happening. You know. Yeah. I don't know. I just think that for me, like Adam Wharton, cracking player. But if Palace want like insane money, you know, if Yves Bissouma's being the cop block, then I don't know. The only way I could like make both of those things work for me would be like 45 million plus some in add-ons, Sorin, and then also say, hey, listen, if you're losing your 6, Bissouma said he doesn't want to leave the Premier League. That doesn't mean he doesn't want to leave Tottenham, and so maybe Palace will be a really good place for him.
Yeah.
What we've got to look at with Wharton is if we've only got 80-100 million, to me, it doesn't make sense to chuck 80 million of it on one player. And as good as he is, I just think unless we are getting rid of Bentancur.
Sorry, 1 sec. So I've got going. He's not world class, is he? Let's be honest. He's not world class. If you're dropping that sort of money, it's got to be a world class player. If you get an opportunity to sign a world class player, then you drop it. But if you're not, you're just spending that sort of money because the chairman's an arse and he's obviously going to do what he's got to do for his club, get the most money. Then that's a no.
Yeah.
So, you're no on Wharton regardless, unless it's like 50 million quid, Pete.
Yeah.
To be clear,
Yeah, because we just got too much other fit stuff to do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree with that. You know, if it's 50, 60, maybe it's another story. But to me, if we're going to spend 80, 100 million, I would rather see Paulinho come in or David Luiz and a Vlahovic or a Gyökeres. You know, to me, for that 80, 100 million, we can get two players that we desperately need rather than one player that we can make work for us. You know, he's probably going to walk into the team again, but I just think there's other positions that left back, you know, something like that we're far more desperate for than getting Wharton in now. So yeah, to me, if it's 50, 60, fair enough. 80, no thanks. But look, if he comes, brilliant. I'm not gonna disrespect it and say I don't want him, but I wouldn't be chucking 80 million on him.
I'll put it this way: if we finish this window, no matter what we spend, we've still glaring holes in the squad that come back to bite. Then it's not the best window that people make out. It might be a great window in terms of glamorous window, but in terms of a functional window for the club, if we still ain't got a backup left back this year, then it's not a great sell. We ain't got a backup striker like we've spent most of our last 10 years with that one. It's still an issue, isn't it?
So on that basis, then are you so? If we can go, so the other links that are out there, clearly everyone knows are Paulinho and Douglas Luiz, right? Paulinho is an out-and-out 6, which I think makes, if you're getting a Morgan Gibbs-White, they could do an 8, they can move into a 10. I think personally that of the two, Douglas Luiz or Paulinho, I would rather have a Paulinho because he offers you something very different. Douglas Luiz is something that's not that dissimilar, a better version, a more bulkier, stronger, tougher, tenacious version of what we already have, but that's not a 6 either. And so I'd rather go for Paulinho. But if you can get either one, whichever one you pick, whichever, right? 20 million quid, 25 million quid gets that one done. With the change, would you rather see Tottenham go and get a left-sided centre-back that can do a left-back job as well? Or would you rather see the £50 million that you've got left over that you could be spending on an Adam Wharton being pumped into a striker? And if you could sell Richarlison, if you could sell Solomon or a Sonny and get 20, 30, whatever million there, how big do you want to dream? Like, could you possibly just go and do what Arsenal aren't prepared to do, which is go to the Verandas and go, how much is it that Arsenal won't pay you? What is it you want? Do what Chelsea have done until now, the new version of Tottenham Hotspur, and say something crazy like, you want 80 million euros, yeah?
Gosh.
Go and get caught.
Has he got a secret buyout clause? Has he got a secret buyout clause? We have to find out.
Possibly.
Send our little private investigator back out. For
Can you imagine? The
buyout clause sniffer.
That to me is a far better solution, right? You go 20 million on Paulinho, and then you're 6 done. Thank you very much. It might not be the long-term solution, but for now, it's more than good enough. More than good enough. And then with everything else you've got, your midfield's better, your forward line's better. Gyökeres, sell Richie, and then you go and get Carl Walker-Peters, or if you go and get if you really, really dare to dream, go and get Anthony Robinson. All of a sudden, that squad looks to me capable of doing more than just a top 5.
That's a different animal, isn't it? Altogether. But I think we also got to remember. Yeah, like I said, there will be players that leave. That's a guarantee. Yeah, they'll probably all leave. Normally, we sell them first and then try and buy players at the end. Now we're sort of doing it the other way around. There'll be a spate where we see players leave the club because a lot of players ain't going to get games as well. Do you know what I mean? Because of the more players you bring in, the less chance there are for other players to have to gain. People like Son and all that. It's just time to go. There's no point hanging around. And any other player that does go, I can't see Romero going because I don't think no one's going to pay the money that we're going to want for him. So I can see him being nailed to the floor. He's thinking about that. But these sort of your other drifters, Bissouma's, Bentancurs, Sons, anyone else in that bracket, Richalison, you could get, say, for if you sold all of them, maybe 100 million. So give it thereabouts, give or take, and then it depends what happens with that. So I mean, does that
Do you
do we
still-
spend
do you-
do we
do
spend
you-
all
do you
this
still hold
money,
hopes?
then bank some?
Do you still hold hopes, Pete, that we can get rid of Sonny?
I do. I think we got this Asia tour. I think nothing will happen before then, and it's probably died down. But if you're Son, I think you go now before. Like I said, big clubs. Look at sort of legends of being that like Steven Gerrard. Liverpool got rid of him when the time was right, and let's be honest, he's far better player than Son probably ever will be. Yeah, he won everything bar the league with them. Do you know what I mean? Proper talisman, a proper world class player. Time to go, son. Chelsea, Lampard, Terry, when their times come, I mean, time to go, son. Tottenham, where do you want your pension? You know what I mean? We need to get out of this habit and go, right, stop getting too attached, far too attached. It's business. It's time to go now. The only thing that he's always on his side is his commercial interest. Do you know what I mean? But then again, if Levy's not interested, if Levy's doing that now and doing the commercial side, not the football side, and Vinay's doing the football side, hopefully he's more interested in the football side. It's not saying Son's completely pony, but it comes a time when you've got to start dropping down levels to match your decline. And he's not been the same player for a while.
I think I kind of disagree a little bit there, Pete. I think Son's time in the Premiership is probably about over, but I think he can do a job for us in Champions League. And look, he's got one more season left with us. Let him go on a free. He deserves it. I don't think Son is going anywhere. You know, I think even if we get a buyer for him, I don't think he'll want to go. I think he's already come out and said he don't want to go. I think he's just happy at the club. He's won his trophy. He's done what he needed to do, and I think he'll stay. But to me, I think we go out, we try and get a Vlahovic, and then we look at who we can sell and pile that money into the left back stroke, left centre. If we're going to play three at the back, that left back kind of comes a little bit less important than it does if we're playing two at the back. So, what's to say that Davies still can't do a little job on the left if we've got three decent defenders in the middle? I'm not saying Davies is the answer before anybody starts getting at me, but I think a striker, I mean, to me, I'd be quite happy with Richie if we could guarantee he'd be fit. But that's the problem. You can't guarantee he'd be fit, so he's got to go.
Not for me. He's not. He
but the thing is, if you
got
look
all
at
the ambition, he's got all the
if you look at his strength, it's in the air, and then we never put crosses into him.
I agree with that. If you put take his foot on,
if we all of a sudden have somebody putting crosses in, I think you'll see a lot more from Richard if he stays fit. The problem is,
that's what I'm saying. He can't
stay fit. But saying that though, our medical department's been overhauled again, hasn't it? We've got the guy from Brentford. Hopefully he can do a little bit more. It's going to be a totally different system. They're not going to be running like headless chickens in the way we were. So, maybe the fitness will be there this year.
I think his contract coming soon. He's got 2 years left, 18 months, something like that.
And I mean, look, if he goes, brilliant. But with the thing is, knowing Tottenham, we won't replace it. To me, you go out, you get a Vlahovic, you get, I mean, he's not a lot of money at the moment. They want him out.
You want Vlahovic, do you? Is that I'd take Vlahovic, but I don't think he necessarily is like the dead set needle mover. But I think
he's not a needle mover. He's better than Richie. He's better than Richie. And if Solanke
you're better than Richie in my mind, mate. I think
it'll give Solanke a tough time in terms of competition for places. I think maybe even oust him. But I'll be honest, I've got to go after this, Sean.
We're not going to have too much longer anyway, mate. So
I'll be surprised if we don't do nothing after the Gibbs-White. Because remember, we ain't kicked the ball yet under Frank. So for all the training and all the rest of it that's going on, and he might think what he wants, he won't actually know what he wants fully until he sees he's not playing. And then he'll be like, oh, fuck me, he's better than I thought he was. Well, actually, no, he's a lot shitter than I thought he was. Do you know what I mean? And then go, right, I might need this, and this. So whatever, obviously there's got to be a process for him to go through to see these players, which it's all right in training, but it means nothing, does it, in training? In terms of some matches, and he sees how he wants to do it, how he's going to want to set up. Some players might not be compatible with what he wants to do, and he don't know that until he tries them, and then he starts seeing things and go, well, actually, no, not for me, him, or I need that. Actually, this squad is missing this, so I need a player that does this. So I won't be surprised if it goes dead, and then we do the Asia tour or whatever, some pre-season games. Give Frank some time to actually see the players. Yeah, see some players in the flesh.
Until the first pre-season. Yeah. Pete, let me ask you this before you got to go, mate. I'll ask you before you got to go. I'm sorry if I cut you off, mate. You can finish your comment.
I'm used to it. Go on, man.
I apologise, mate. I apologise.
Comes with your show, mate.
Yeah, it's part of the territory. With regards to Romero, if Romero's staying, he's staying, right? If he stays, he stays. If he dies, he dies. But if he does go, because there's rumours out that Real Madrid are now sniffing around, Atletico Madrid have moved away. Would you want Tottenham to use that money to go and do one of these things where you don't go and replace like for like? Like, you know, if you got 70 million for him, would you want to see? And same question to you, Soren, after this. Would you want to see Tottenham spend 70 on the replacement, or would you rather do something like a 40 on someone that's an up and comer, like a Scalvini, like a Lucumi, like a Leone, like one of the like a De Winter, all these players we're linked with out of Paratici's ecosystem, and then take the change, put that together with whatever else we can get from some sales, and then go again back at the top end of the pitch, like you were saying earlier.
Yeah. I don't think we have to rush out and buy an £80 million. If we get 80 million, we've got to spend 80 million on a position. Because if you're honest, if they pay 80 million for him, they've overpaid. So that doesn't mean he's.
How much do you think he's worth, Romero?
I'd probably say 50. I don't think I'm not his biggest fan. I think he's a good player. I think he's a better footballer than he's a defender. And he's more interested in playing football than defending a lot of the time. I don't believe the hype sometimes, and he goes missing a hell of a lot of time. And he just does whatever he likes. But he's probably one of our better defenders. But we've got so many centre backs. We've got quite a few centre backs at the club that I think Danso's been okay, and Dragusin we've hardly seen. It's a different system, could be a different player. So there's a lot of question marks there. But bank that. Plus we've also got no matter what investment comes in, we still got that massive deficit in terms of what we're owed to what we owe at other clubs. So we need that to start coming down to do future business. People just play ignorance to it. You can't keep adding debt in terms of other clubs and not gaining any debt from other clubs. So we need to start being we need to sell some players. It's just natural. It's a fact. We have to trade in players if we're going to keep the cogs moving.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think there's anyone out there that you want to. That I would sit there and go, if you sell him for 60, 70, I don't know where you go to get the next version of it. Like the fact that Real Madrid are looking at Romero, apparently, I think that tells its own tale. The fact that Liverpool aren't, they're only looking at Gay. It's the driest market for centre backs.
Hello, I gotta go. That's me. That's my call.
Cheers, mate. Buddy.
See you
I'll see you soon, mate. Cheers, Pete.
Bye. Bye.
See you, mate. Sorry, it's the driest market in centre backs in the history of the window, as far as I can remember. There's nothing happening in that market that's worth that sort of money, in my opinion. I want to get your take on it.
Yeah, I mean, I think aren't we looking at someone from Italy? Is it Atalanta or Roma or somewhere?
Yeah, we're looking at a few players. We're looking at Coney De Winter from Genoa, who came through Juventus, so he's part of the Paratici train, if you like. We're looking at Leone. We looked at Lucumi. We looked at quite a few of these guys, and Scalvini is the big kind of up and comer, the next Alessandro. Remember the whole Bastoni deal a couple of years ago that we were trying to get with under Conte. Well, Scalvini's the next great thing out of Italian defensive football, but he's injury prone, mate. He spent half of last year out with a knee ligament injury and the other half out with a shoulder injury. So, but apparently, 30-40 million quid is all it will take because of that. And if you can hope that you can put those things behind him, then he's a real player.
I think the problem is Romero is probably our best defender by a long way, and is kind of a leader on the pitch, and I think he would be a big loss for us. But to me, again, we go back to do we play this big club? He's got 2 years left. He won't sign a new contract. Do you get rid while he's still worth the money, or do you say no? We're going to keep you. I don't know. I'd love for him to be in our back line, and I would love for him to be made captain, and I think that would sort of boost his confidence a little.
Romero?
Yeah.
You want him to be captain?
I would have him as captain, yeah.
Even after he's called the club out like 4 times in the last 6 months.
He's called the club out, but look, not we, because I didn't, but everybody praised Conte for doing it, so why shouldn't a player do it? I mean, he's not said anything that wasn't.
I think Conte was an absolute CUNT.
Oh, I think he was an absolute, but what he said was right. The way he did it was wrong. And the same with Romero. What he says was it right what he said? Yeah, it was, wasn't it? I mean,
was it?
Yeah, I think when you look at it,
listen, mate. I'm one of these people that always sits there and says, "What's the motivation of the person that's saying what they're saying?"
Oh no, I mean, he wanted to be out.
His motivation is, I'm not going to be able to win at this club because of X, Y, and Z. But I don't want that to be on me. So I want everyone to know that this club is the problem. But he wasn't even. I don't even think he was calling out the club. I think he was calling out the players. But either way, he's someone that is like. He's doing the Marinakis thing, just in a different guise. It's not my fault. I'm going to go angry, and by being angry, the amount of times I have an argument with my mum. I love my mum to pieces, right? I love her to pieces. She's my rock. I love her to pieces, but she's got this common thread of like the person who stays angriest longest is right, and I'm like, that's not how it works. Yeah, and I think that Conte was one of these people that just thinks that he can distance himself. The fact of the matter is that in his previous life, in his previous realms, he took over clubs that were always close to winning. He didn't build anything. He took on something and then won. He was like the guy that finished the last mile of a marathon for someone else.
Sean, you know that I did not want Conte at the club. You know that it was the worst signing of a manager for our club that could have possibly been done. And I hated the time under Conte. I really did not like the football. I really did not like him. But I do think that some of the things he came out and said, I think he was wrong in doing it. But I do think some of the things that he said was right. And it was the way he did it that was totally wrong. And we all know why he did it, because he wanted out. He wanted his money and what. Right. And I said at the time, I think it was the biggest mistake signing Conte to our club as our manager. It was never, ever going to work. Now, Romero, look, I mean, you shouldn't do that. I'm not saying he was right in coming out and saying it, but I do think when you look at what he said, you can look at it and think, do you know what? He's not far off. You know, the club has had that mentality of not wanting to. I mean, look how many players have said it. Look how many people have said it. And I think
but these people don't understand the context, mate. It's like saying, I've used this analogy 1,000 times. It's like your wife being pissed off with you because the family next door won the lottery.
She would be.
She would be pissed off. And it's fine to be pissed off, but I can't buy a Ferrari because the geezer next door can, especially if the geezer next door was on my level 2 weeks ago, but then won the lottery. And that's the case with Chelsea. That's the case with Manchester City, and the case with Arsenal and Manchester United and who's that one? Man City, Arsenal, Liverpool, Newcastle. So Liverpool did it the right way, but they've always been more successful than Tottenham. We haven't had the draw. When Liverpool pick up the phone, no one's like, there's no way that anyone's ever going to say there's a bigger club coming in apart from Real Madrid. In the case of Trent, and look how Liverpool reacted. Look how Liverpool fans reacted to that audacity that Trent went, I'm leaving Liverpool to go to the bigger club than us, because Liverpool, for the most part, don't ever have to concern themselves with that sort of reality. But for the Tottenham, we are not that size. And so, like, we don't live on the same block as Arsenal, as Manchester United, as Manchester City and Chelsea. Chelsea and City were nobodies. They were the guy that were like they were the lotto lout that won the lottery and then bought a nice mansion on a nice estate and then pissed everybody else off. But Tottenham Hotspur have done it organically. They just chomped through their career, and to sit there and for people like Conte, who forever have always been a part of that giant first tier ilk, to sit there and start commanding and demanding that Tottenham do things differently when we're just not part of that world.
But
It's like your wife demanding that you start buying a Ferrari because the guy next door who won the lottery does.
yeah, but Sean, I mean, the biggest problem we've got is we don't know what is said to these players. So if somebody like Romero and it's like, look, give us another season, we're gonna start doing things. Same as Kane, we all said we should have built a squad that was fitting a player of Kane's ilk. It's the same with Romero. He's a World Cup winner. He's used to winning. So if he's sat there and people are saying to him, right, this is the season, we're going to push on, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, we're blah, 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 blah. And then all of a sudden he sees it again, transfer window after transfer window, where we don't sign the right players.
What were we supposed to do differently, though, Soren? What is it we're supposed to do differently? Buy people like Harry Kane was the best player in the world, but we were lucky to have him because he came through our system. But we aren't that team. It's like Brentford fans that imagine if Crystal Palace fans didn't win or imagine if they won, sorry, let me rephrase. Better example. Aston Villa were relegated in 2017. They came back up in 2022, right? In the last 3 years, under Unai Emery and under the new guys, they got into the Champions League. Imagine if they happened to get to the Champions League final. Imagine, right, like we did in 2019. If Aston Villa fans started demanding that anything other than signing the likes of Harry Kane was unacceptable, or that they employed a manager like Conte, would we not be looking at Aston Villa fans going, who do you think you are to be like, who does this guy think he is? This is Aston Villa. This is Everton. This is Tottenham. This is not Manchester United. This is not Real Madrid. There's levels to the game, and as much as we want to demand it, unfortunately, as I've said 1,000 times, getting to the Champions League final at the time we did and losing was the worst thing that could have happened to Daniel Levy, because it fundamentally reset expectations to a point where Tottenham Hotspur fans started demanding things above our station. We are not that team anymore. And you have to be very old to remember a time when Tottenham were that team.
I think the thing is, though, especially now, at this moment in time, we've just won the European Cup. We've what looks like we've got some money coming into the club. And all of a sudden, we're showing some ambition to maybe go to another level. This is where, you look at Romero and think, he might now turn around and say, no, this is a club I can start to believe in again. This is a club where I can see us winning. Now, we all sat here and called out, well, not all of us again, but, a lot of people sat here and called out Harry Kane because he had no ambition. He wanted to stay at Tottenham and not win anything. And players if players don't want to win something, then they're not ambitious, they're not right in the head or whatever. Well, Romero's surely like that he wants to win things. If you can win them at Tottenham, then hopefully he's happy with that. But if he looks there and thinks, well, we're not going to sign anybody again, I'm just wasting my time. I've got ambition. I want to be the best player I possibly can. Who can blame him for wanting out?
100%. Especially when he's shown absolutely no loyalty to Tottenham Hotspur. I couldn't give a flying fuck if he wants to leave the club. I couldn't care less. If he wants to stay, fair enough. If we give him a new contract and it's the new highest club earning contract, fair enough. Like, he's the best defender that we have if he's available, and he's a leader on the pitch. But does he deserve captaincy? Sorry?
I mean, look, we look at our team. Who's the better captain in the team then? Right now, who is the better captain in our team?
Yeah, that's an interesting conversation. It's an interesting. I've acknowledged this in my videos. Like, I don't think that he has demonstrated captaincy material, because I think a captain has to be similar to how Luis Enrique called out Mbappe and said in the final few months of his time, right, at Paris, he said that you're a god with the ball at your feet. no one will take that away from you. You're the best that there is, possibly the best that there ever will be if you carry on. However, if you want to be a proper leader of this team, you have to do more when you don't have the ball. And when you're marked out of the game, you have to show more interest. And I think that you can make the same sort of argument, or like augmented argument, towards what is it that a leader has to do. Does he just have to take care of business on the pitch when he's playing? Or does he have to conduct himself in a sort of way that emanates the energy of the football club? Do you have to be the first person at training? Do you have to be the last person there? Do you have to be the guy that, gives some sort of confidence to the young players that are around him, maybe in the youth team? Do you have to learn the language better after being here for 4 fucking years, by the way? Do you have to sort of ingratiate yourself into the life in which you are now the champion of, and you are the representative of the football club in the most visible format, which is the playing side? And I don't think he's done any of those things. And worst of all, I don't think he has ever shown any real respect for the football club. He's never spoken about it in a nice way. He said that at the best I can point to is him saying, "I'm happy here, but my family aren't." Right? It's always but right. But on top of that, the Tottenham Hotspur medical team, and look, he might be absolutely right to be pissed off, but the Tottenham Hotspur medical team spent 4 months trying to get him right. And the Argentinian football team spent 2 weeks trying to get him right. And when he finally was right, he said, "Thank you to the Argentinian football team," which is a veiled dig. He said to Ange Postecoglou on the day that our new manager, his new boss, came into the club, he waited until the day that our new guy came in and said, "Thank you, Ange. We did it despite all of the obstacles that have been here and will always be here." To me, I don't think he's doing that, because they're veiled digs. They're intelligent digs that don't come out and say things, but they're inferring things. That requires a smarter kind of level of acumen, I believe. And I think that's an ecosystem around him that's telling him that he's above Tottenham Hotspur. And I don't think that sort of person should be the captain of our football club. So he shouldn't be the captain. But to answer your question directly, who should be? It is an interesting one, because I'm not sure there's a clear answer there either, to be honest.
Exactly. I mean, this is the problem. You look at Sonny. Sonny is a great guy, but he's probably not going to play that much. And the problem is he's too nice a guy. You then look. I mean, maybe Bentancur, but again, is he the right person? You look at Vicario. I mean, Vicario, he's kind of a leader from the back, but I think my problem with Vicario is it's always somebody else's fault. It's never his fault.
Yeah, he shouldn't be captain.
Yeah.
I think the Decky's not a bad shout. Right, Decky's not a bad shout, but the problem is that if you're 24 years old and you're not a permanent part of the first team,
then you can't be.
Maybe you can be in a world where there's so many options, but I think a captain, in my mind, a captain should be pretty much a mainstay.
Yeah, exactly. And this is the problem. I mean, until we see how Frank plays and who is going to be his kind of first names on the team sheet, then it's all pie in the sky. But I mean, as much as I agree with everything you said about Romero, I just think he's the one that when he's on the pitch,
he doesn't want to be here, mate. Let's be honest. If Atletico Madrid put the money in right now, the only reason he's still here is not because he wants to be. It's because Atletico Madrid aren't willing to put up the money, and him and the club and the El Cholo Diego Simeone, they have tried every unofficial rule in the book to unsettle the player, to the point where he's already rejected a contract. He doesn't want to be at Tottenham. He would go to Real Madrid in a fucking heartbeat, Soren. Atletico Madrid. And Atletico Madrid are not the same as Real Madrid, right? Yeah. They're not the same. He would go in a heartbeat to them. He doesn't live and breathe Tottenham. He doesn't. And so I'm sitting there, but I hear the point, though, that if not him, then who? I mean, I think the options for me are Pedro Porro, which I would say have the same language problems, right? I like Pedro Porro, I really do. He's a workhorse. He's a tireless worker. He's passionate. He ticks all the boxes. The problem for me is he doesn't speak enough English, and you have responsibilities as the captain to be coming out and talking to English media. I think he's probably better now than he was at English a year or two ago, but I think maybe a year too soon. But I'd have no problem with him being the captain in a year's time if he hung around. Decky, possibly, but does he play enough? Does he play enough? I'm not sure. Maddison, I don't think is professional enough.
No.
You aren't giving it to Richalison. Solanke's not been here long enough, and he's not particularly vocal. Sonny, I don't think, did the last job very well.
No. I mean, then you're looking at
you ain't giving it to Ben Davies. Ben Davies is like not that kind of guy.
He's not going to play. I mean, the one that I would...
It's a difficult one.
Well,
if it's not an obvious candidate, that's a problem, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. But the one I would maybe look at, and again, it's all dependent, but Morgan Gibbs-White, if he comes.
Was he the captain of Forest? I think he was, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. And, you know, again, I mean, to me, I like the idea of our captain being that sort of bad boy, you know, the Roy Keane type player. And he's a bit fiery, is Gibbs, isn't he? So, you know, to me, that's the one. But look, if we're not giving it to Romero, this is the question. Who? There isn't a leader in our team, and that is the problem.
That's a massive problem, isn't it? It's a fucking problem.
Look, if we went now,
let me just quickly ask. Sorry, I'll let you go on. Let me ask you. Let me throw this question into to sort of cultivate your answer. Is there a role? You suggested Morgan Gibbs-White. Does the captain of the football club have to have spent some time at the club before becoming the captain?
No, not for me.
So if Tottenham were to sign a Polinia, he might be a capable candidate. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that was where I was about to go. Look, if we went and got a Polinia,
sorry to interrupt.
For me, you give it to that. So I mean, look, how many? I mean, I know it's slightly different, and it's going out of football, but how many times that if you've got a business, you employ your new manager. It's generally a person coming from outside into a business. I mean, from what I see in my role, it's not very often that you give it the promotion internally. You're always looking to change things. Now, I don't think we have a candidate within our club that is an obvious captain. So therefore, you bring in somebody that has that little bit of bite that doesn't stand for shit. And to me, a Morgan Gibbs-White, a Polinia, that's the sort of player that I would like to see captaining my team. And I don't know. I personally, I don't think he has to have played for us before, as long as he's there and he's passionate about the club now.
So I put a poll out just now, guys. I want everyone. There's 1,000 people here. I'd love to, before we finish off, I want to get at least 600 votes, right? On who it should be. I've said who should be the captain of our football club: Romero, Sonny, Decky, or someone else, and say who. So if you are saying who, I'm going to be looking at the comments and just assuming that your name is your version of captain. At the moment, it's 50% of people are saying it's someone else other than Romero, Son, or Decky. So that's quite crazy, right? So the three obvious ones for me are those three, but please let us know who. Van der Ven may be a shout. Morgan Gibbs-White, to your point, mate, it might be a shout. That to me though, Johnny, Soren, is a fucking problem, mate. The fact that there's no obvious candidate.
I mean, the argument
that tells its own tale, doesn't it? That tells its own tale around what we are lacking in the club. We're lacking aggression, we're lacking fight, we're lacking desire, and we're lacking leadership. And I hope Morgan Gibbs-White ticks a few of those boxes. But I don't know if you give Morgan Gibbs-White captaincy immediately. That would probably ruffle some feathers as well. Not that I care about ruffling feathers, but that would be a problem. That might be an issue.
Yeah. I mean, look, sometimes you've got to ruffle the feathers. Now, one thing I will say, reading the chat, and it's like I've said, Van der Ven, I think under Postecoglou, Van der Ven would have been perfect. I want to see how Van der Ven plays under Frank without playing that high line where his speed isn't the main factor of his game anymore. Because, look, I'm not going to disrespect him because I think he's a fantastic player. But I do have questions when that line has been further back, his legs get tangled up a lot. And I don't know. I don't think we're going to see the same player under a Thomas Frank system as what we did under a Postecoglou system, where his speed was the thing that saved us so many times. And as good as a defender is, I think the questions might be asked this season of him. Is he a captain?
On that basis, then, are you saying if Van der Ven is like we haven't even got an out-and-out replacement for him, right? Even if Romero stays and Danzo's the deputy, neither of those guys are tested and tried and proven, at least as a left-sided centre back. Would you suggest then that the most important, like if you were to go and get, like we spoke earlier about, like, Adam Wharton 70, 80 million versus Douglas Luiz 25 million. If you were to do a Douglas Luiz or a Paulinho at that level, would the correct reutilization of that budget that you're saving, if it was available, would you say it's maybe better spent rather than going and trying to be cheeky and doing a Gyökeres or someone like that, or a Sesko or someone crazy? Would you rather see it come in for a, because even if Micky, I agree with you, by the way, that Micky van der Ven hasn't shown that the best version of Micky van der Ven is in a high line, chasing people down and catching them and doing his thing. But in a lower line, that's not going to be as commonly found. Therefore, you have to look to his other areas of his strength. And he's not great in the air. He's not fantastic with his positioning. And so therefore, would you say that maybe after you go and get a Luiz or a Paulinho, would you go and use that other budget to go and get a left-sided centre-back that can sit in behind? Because even if Van der Ven doesn't get injured, just Van der Ven alone might not be quite as good as we think he is in a system that has a lower line.
Look, the thing with Micky van der Ven is that you look at our back line, and look, I don't, for anybody that thinks I'm slating him, I'm not. I don't think there's a better defender that suited Postecoglou's system than Micky van der Ven. He was the perfect player for that. I would consider, I mean, obviously Danzo comes back, Danzo plays, Dragason's back, the new Croatian lad comes in. We've got a lot of good defenders. What's to say Micky van der Ven can't play that left back? Because pretty sure he plays left back for national team, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does, yeah.
So what's to say he doesn't move to that left back where his speed again can come into play?
He's actually one of the very few people, mate, in top level football who play a different position for his club than he does for his country.
Yeah. I mean, the last ditch challenges where he's run back and he's tackled, but you start him further back on the penalty line or something like that, and he's got his back to goal. He's not the same defender. But for me, I think we buy the Paulinho, we buy the Douglas Luiz rather than the Wharton, and we spend that money elsewhere, whether it's a left back, whether it's another centre back. I don't know, but Micky van der Ven for me isn't captain material this season until we see how he plays under Frank's system. And yeah, I think we're going to see a very different Micky van der Ven this season, and I don't know which way. He'll either be fantastic, which I hope he is, or it won't work for him. Because whenever he made the mistakes last season, it was always when he was tight back. So therefore, again, if we give him the captaincy, then and we see those mistakes, it's only going to be chucked back at him. So to me, you put that little fiery person either in midfield or the guy with the attitude wherever he's playing. Don't know whether a striker really fits sometimes as a captain, but I always like your midfielder to be your captain if you've got one. But I just don't see any real leaders in our team, and that's the problem we've got. There isn't a real leader.
I got no problem with a like a designated captain coming in. Like if we had assigned the Norgard or something, I got no problem with him if he's got experience doing that role, even if he doesn't necessarily play every minute. But as you look at it, for me, the standout captain armband should go to Decky, assuming that he's fully fit and assuming that he'll play sort of somewhere around 50% of the minutes. I think he justifies the captaincy above anybody else. If Romero gets the captaincy, I've got a real problem with it. I really do. I don't think he's deserved it. I think his behaviour is petulant and a little bit arrogant, and I don't think that it's the right way to go. Just quickly, guys, sorry, 1 second, before I get your response on that one. Soren is a super chat. There's a few more super chats that have come in. I'm not sure where we got to on the super sticker train. I think Hotspur 63 came in with one. Thank you very much. Choo. Appreciate you, buddy. Soren said, Blaine said, Sean Pete and Soren, other content is boring. The best show in the land. I appreciate that, mate. Thank you very much. England took some wickets. Days over in the cricket, so watching you is grand. That's a song. It's a song. Big up, you legends. Appreciate you, mate. Love you. I love you, Brain. You're absolutely, absolute sensation, mate. You're a fantastic guy, fantastic moderator, fantastic contributor to the community, and we love you on this channel and on Football Inc., mate. Thank you very much. By the way, guys, if you are interested in Football Inc., then the link is in the description. Please check it out. I'll publish it before we go. It's where Johnny and I spend an hour and a half every day talking about whatever's happening in the world of football. Channel's growing to unbelievable levels, and so I'd love you guys to join us. Thank you very much to Daniel Field again. We're at the Clapham Junction again, Daniel. Appreciate you, mate. Thank you so much, buddy. Very nice of you. Hotspur State of Mind again has popped back in with another one. Thank you very much, my man. Really appreciate you. Dean Livesley has done the same from Australia. We're flying over to Melbourne or to I think it's north of Sydney, actually, Dean. I think you said to me. Appreciate you, mate. Thank you very much. Mr. Field has come back in again. He loves to pop in. Thank you, Daniel. You're a legend, buddy. You're an absolute legend. As has Dean Livesley saying, Maddison became vice-captain on his walk in. That's a good point. That was a good point. Under Ange, he decided to give Maddison the vice-captain role. I don't think Maddison took it seriously, if I'm entirely honest. Soren, what do you think, mate?
I think Maddison gets a lot of bad press, to be honest with you. I think when you listen to him recently, I think he's got a lot of love for the club. I think when we say he doesn't take it seriously, and I don't know, I think on his day he's a fantastic player, and I think he does take it seriously, but I also think that he's been very, very frustrated over the last year or so because of the injuries, and I kind of get it. Look, it's another one. If we can keep Maddis fit, I think he's a big part player for us, and I think he'll have a big part to play under Thomas Frank if he stays fit. Is he management material on the past year? You'd say no, but if he sort of stays fit and he kind of plays like he did in them first 10 games under Postecoglou, then I would have no problem, because I think he was a leader on the pitch, and I think for those 10 games he was the one that stepped up. And when he's been properly fit and actually getting back into it, he's been a damn good player. The big problem is he plays 50, 60 minutes every match. He can't really carry on, and he just hasn't got the longevity again. So that kind of rules him out for me. But look,
yeah, I also think he'll be out the door in a year's time. I think he'll be leaving the club in next year, or maybe even January, depending on what we do this summer. But
I think Berghvall and sort of Kulu and I suppose Morgan Gibbs-White isn't.
One of Kulu and Maddison are going to leave the club in the next year, in my opinion.
Yeah,
I'll be amazed if they don't.
I mean, I won't be surprised if they both went, but again, until we see them under a Frank system. I mean, look, this year, Maddison could be phenomenal. Kulu could be phenomenal. We just don't know what's going to come. It's a totally different scenario with Thomas Frank in charge. So
it's madness to me that Kulusevski got that injury in the last game of the season, or the game before the last, whatever it was, and he decided. And the physicians decided to ask him to carry on playing, and he went, "No, I can't do it." And it turned out that he's going to be out for like 8 months. It's madness. It's such a bad demonstration. Just quickly, last super chat from Eugene says Porro has all the attributes to be captain. I think Eugene. I like Pedro Porro. I think he's excellent in everything he does. I think he's a professional. The only thing I would say is that I don't think I think that there's responsibilities. I don't think it's a problem. It's not that he doesn't demonstrate captaincy material. It's that I just think that one of the prerequisites of being a captain is having to dialogue with the press quite a lot. And at the moment, I'm not sure his English is quite there. And so I'd have if he spoke fluent English, I'd be a 100% advocate of it. But apparently Soren disagrees.
Yeah, I think the Spanish version of Sonny is too nice. He'd be giving you a bollocking and smiling at you. You don't take him seriously. But look, I think
I don't disagree.
On his day, he's fantastic. Maybe a vice captain, but yeah, to me again, I want my captain to be that person who, when he comes at you, you think, "Oh, I'm in trouble. I've done something wrong." I'm not saying that you've got to be the Mr. Bad guy.
I had a manager once in New York when I first arrived in New York. Geezer was he perfectly blended management with accessibility versus familiarity. He was accessible, but he wasn't familiar. He'd come out for a beer at the end of a week and say, "Well done." He'd have one beer and he'd go because he didn't want to get drunk in front of you and then say shit and have too much for a laugh where you'd think that you could banter, and then on the Monday morning, it would be difficult for him to call you out for something.
Yeah,
he perfectly blended that role of like professionalism versus, and like I say, accessibility versus familiarity. It's a very hard line to. I'm not sure if that's necessarily the same with captaincy versus teammate, but certainly for manager versus employee, I think it is, or subordinate. I think it's important. But I hear what you're saying. Can Sonny really bollock someone? I'd say no.
And that's the same, like say with Porro, and probably the same with Maddison. They're all kind of one of the guys, and that's why I think you need that. Somebody new coming in that's not actually part of the clique. And to me, a Morgan Gibbs-White, he's got that fieriness to him. A Polino, he's used to being a leader.
I think Polino more than Morgan Gibbs-White, because Polino is 30 years old, give or take, right? And so he's been at Bayern Munich. He's been there and done it. Like he played for his country. He's got that kind of pedigree behind him. Morgan Gibbs-White's 23 years old, coming into a team and then being immediately positioned as captain. I think is a little bit. Although I do love the fact that he's got that fucking I don't give a fuck who you are. I'm gonna bite your fucking face off.
Well, we say with people, age shouldn't really matter. I mean, I did my first management role at 22, and I walked. I'd not managed. I walked into the job and I became a manager at 22.
Yeah, but who are your subordinates? People that were 35.
Yeah.
And how do they respect you?
They were, I mean, in the end, they did. Don't get me wrong. It wasn't easy to start with.
Right.
But I think if you walk in, football's a bit different because you walk in. These players will know who Polino is. They'll know who Morgan Gibbs-White is. So it's not like you walk. Like for me, I was walking into a farm that nobody knew who I was. But from day one, you've got, I've always said, I'm not there to make friends. I'm there to make sure the business works right. Same with football.
I hear.
If you've got a footballer coming in, if it's
but a footballer coming in from a lower club who's also younger than half the people in the squad.
Yeah, but I mean, we're talking. Yeah, he's coming from a lower squad that finished above us this year. He ran that team. He's an England international, so he's not just some kid off the bench or anything like that. We're talking somebody that's probably quite well respected within Premiership, especially. But look, I mean, I'm just,
I think captaincy for Morgan Gibbs-White is the step too soon, personally.
Yeah, he's captain at Forest, so it's not like he doesn't know what the position entails.
No, it's not necessarily about whether he knows what to do. It's whether he can command the respect of those around him immediately. And that sometimes isn't down to what you say or do. It's down to whether the people are willing to accept it.
Yeah, and I get that. I think that's why I say
that's the variable that we don't know.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I say, look, if you're going to bring somebody in as a captain, in a sense, you bring a Polino in, maybe even a David Luiz, other names insert here. But I just don't think it would be the worst thing in the world to have somebody come in that has got a bit of grit, has got a bit of fight, and he is an England international. What is he, 23, 24? He's not a young kid.
Right. 23, I think.
Yeah, so he's not a young kid, and he's proven himself in the Premiership. We're not talking about.
I'd have no problem with it being a vice captain in the same guise as like Maddison. And listen, for me, I still land on the idea that it's not a clear answer, and that in and of itself, for me, Soren, is problematic. I don't hate what you're saying, by the way. I don't disagree with you that he's a candidate, but I think it's just awkward on many levels, and it might make it difficult to ingratiate him because he's brand new. He's come from a club that isn't above Tottenham in the pecking order traditionally. He's a young guy, and therefore, is that all? Do you want to have all that shit added onto the shoulders of someone that's coming in to the football club? I think Sonny was the victim of too much responsibility last year, and he's been at the club for 9 years at the time. I think that the solution has to be within the club. If I'm entirely honest, just if it hadn't been for the fact that Romero was such a dickhead in the last 3 or 4 months with his behaviour and the way he speaks, he would be the clear candidate. But the fact that he makes it difficult for me to get on board it. But look, this is something that we can continue with, mate, on another day, mate. We've been going for an hour and 50. I want to keep this one. I want to end this off here. I think we're done with the super chats. Are we not? No, we're not. Sorry. There's another super chat from a new member, Zach Halloway 76. Thank you very much, mate. I appreciate the membership, buddy. Looking forward to getting to know you, bro. And Dean Lives is coming another one with thank you very much, mate. A super sticker. No, so it's a super chat. Melbourne pal. Romero has lost his LA privileges. I think so as well. I do. Thank you, Dean. But I'm not convinced he's the guy, but I still don't know where the solution is.
I'll just jump in here. Somebody's pointed out, and I've just checked. I think he's pretty much right. He's 26.
Who?
Morgan Gibbs-White.
Is he 26?
Yeah. Born in 2000.
Hell, my bad. Sorry for saying that. If I said he was 23. Sorry. Apologies. Yeah.
So, but again, like I say, to me, age doesn't matter. If he's got the balls to take it on, and is big enough and man enough to stand up to these players and tell them, then that makes him even more of the right candidate for me. But look, again, the question is, if it's not someone like Morgan Gibbs-White, and I'm not saying he's the perfect one, but again, who else?
It's difficult, mate. It's difficult. I'm not sure. Let me see let's see how everyone finished up in that chat. It got to 40% Romero in the end, 400 votes, give or take. 40% ended up with Romero, 9% Sonny, 13% Decky, 38% thinks somebody else. So, all right, fair enough. The public has spoken with the options that I gave. 40% have said Romero. So we're going to leave it there, mate. Mate, you're an absolute legend for coming on. Love seeing you, buddy. Love seeing you, mate. You've been absolutely exceptional as always. Thank you very much to Pete. Guys in the chat, we're going to send you over to Sav's channel for the Spurs review. That's starting in a few minutes. So go over there and smash into the comment section. Shawnee Raid or Spurs Talk Show Raid, whatever you fancy. And we love you all. Thanks for stopping by. Thank you for the choo-choo train. I'll be back tomorrow morning with Football Inc. first and foremost. And mate, Soren, mate, legend. Who's the doggy? What's his name? Look at it. Look at the doggy pupping his face in there. Love that.
This one's Coco. We've got Bella, Copper, and Blaze down there.
Mate, amazing. When you've got 2,500 acres, the dogs never have a problem with finding something to entertain themselves with, right?
No, they're always...
Just out of curiosity, do the dogs get on with the pigs?
They haven't met them. I don't let them near them because of the electric fences.
So the electric fences is to protect animals, not to stop humans from getting involved or anything, yeah?
No, it's to keep the animals where they should be, but it's also to keep people out as well.
So the dogs have never met the pigs.
Well, they have, but they're too stupid, are these dogs. they just keep running into the fences and wondering why they're getting a shock.
Really?
Especially this one, yeah.
Because Bugsy Malone is I think she's arguably more intelligent than I am. She's such a smart dog.
Oh, don't get me wrong. Yeah, I mean, but the chocolate one is, yeah, he's got a brain cell or two missing.
That's Coco, is it?
Yeah, this is Coco. Come on.
Let me see Coco.
They're only puppies, so.
Hi, Coco. Can see your nose. Can see your face. Oh, he's a good boy.
Yeah,
Hi, Coco.
We just had him weighed. He's 33.5 kilos at a year old.
Wow. He's twice the weight of Bugsy Malone. Good to see you, Coco.
Yeah.
We are going to be organising, by the way, guys, we are going to be trying to squeeze in sometime in July or August, probably August, a day at a park that is a dog-friendly park. We're going to try and get everyone together who has a dog who wants to come down. So I'll be talking about that with you guys very soon. But massive thank you to you, Soren. Massive thank you to Pete. Soren, have you got anywhere? Do you want to plug any YouTube or socials or anything?
No, I just go on the channels that want to put up with my constant waffling, and obviously the good looks and the bright red face. It really is red today, isn't it? So, look, I just come on, you Spurs, and let's get behind it. And the quad is on. The
quad is on, mate. Maybe the quintuple is if we get the Super Cup done. If Tottenham keep spending, all things are great. There's 750 people here. Stay where you are, guys. Spurs Review starts right now. Thank you very much to all the Super Train guys. And thank you for the super stickers and everything else. I'll see you tomorrow morning. Love you guys. Take care. Ciao. Thanks very much. Cheers, Soren.
See you later.